Really excited about today's hunt. Nobody else out here right now, so hopefully the pressure's been minimal with the lack of birds. It's been tough out here. I've got a bunch of silhouettes that I've always wanted to use out here, and I finally broke down and bought sitting ducks silhouette V boards. Little different technique today. Gonna try and mix it up, see if we can't give these ducks something that they haven't seen before, and see if that pays off for me at all.
Oh, we wake up at the crack of dawn to sit in our kayaks all day long. We won't tell you any lies because we are the kayak guys.
Okay, this is my homemade setup to float silhouettes on. One of my coworkers, he 3D printed this plastic piece here. So I've just got a bunch of pool noodles that I spray painted, and then those fit right over the plastic piece. And then cut a couple slits in the pool noodle, and it's ready to go. Here's some of the homemade silhouettes I made. It's not corrugated. This side I actually painted and then flocked them. So that's just black. And then I got lazy on the other side and just spray painted them with the only color I had, which was brown. So there we have the homemade V board. The problem I have with these is, one, these pool noodles, as you can tell, don't hold the paint extremely well. But then also, this likes to rotate around this fitting here. And so if there's any strong wind at all, the decoys just tip over. A lot of people make these homemade V boards out of wood, but you guys know we do a lot of walk-in hunting, and weight is always the main concern. So I wanted to try these out of pool noodles. And, you know, if there's no wind, I think they work halfway decent. They're kind of a pain to assemble. Overall, for just a cheap, quick method to float silhouettes, it works okay. So this is a sitting duck V-board. This is the first time I've used this. Pretty pleased with it, really. There's just a pin here that gets pulled, and then everything folds up. For me, the one downside is these silhouettes I have to attach with a couple screws there, so I can't really easily pull the silhouettes off this V-board to bring them out here, which means just this dozen took up a pretty good chunk of space in my kayak, where I could fit quite a few more of the pool noodle design, just because I can pull the decoys off and stack everything up a little nicer. Pretty pleased with how they look on the water. We'll give them a shot today. This might be a hunting video with no hunting. Saw two groups of ducks this morning before shooting hours. I don't think I've seen a single duck since then, which I'm kind of surprised. I honestly expected there to be a lot more ducks out here than what I'm seeing today. A lot of geese flying by. There's a ton of them flying back kind of behind me, but they have no interest in coming here. If I knew how to use this goose call, I've always wondered if I could bring some down. This thing, I don't know how to use it, so. There was actually three that were not in a group, and one kind of flew over me. But it was not from the calling, because they just kept on going. One of these days, I'm gonna sit down and try and figure out how to blow this thing, but for now, I'll just watch the geese. Zoom, zoom, zoom. seen 2 groups this morning, and each have given me a half look almost. So I don't know if they don't like these black and white silhouettes. Both ended up not even landing anywhere on the marsh, but got my sandwich. So good to stick it out for a little bit longer and see if can't get maybe one more opportunity. Teal won't even come and land on my decoy spread. Figured maybe there's something a little off about it, so rearranged it a little bit. Those teal landed back off over there, and then they swam up into this, there's a little cove area back up in here. Once they all went behind that weed line, I was able to get across this open water right in front of me, over to the other side of the weeds, and then followed that up. I was able to get close enough to jump shoot these. They're just, I don't know, 10 or so teal just dabbling around back up in there. It's really cool to see them when they've got their full colors like this. Not gonna go home with no ducks. Certainly didn't have these decoy, which is what I was really hoping for today. But still, going home with a duck, that's always great. Well, I'm not quite sure what to think of these silhouettes. There wasn't a lot of ducks flying, so it's hard to tell with just one trip out. But one thing that I didn't think of is I've just got 3-ounce egg sinkers on there, and if you see, the wind's picked up just a little bit. It's not a strong wind at all, maybe 10 miles an hour, and it's blown all of the silhouettes, all the goose silhouettes, into a nice pile right there. So if I want to set these out on any larger areas of open water, which was kind of the idea for me behind the silhouettes, I have to haul around some heavy weights to keep them in place. I'm thinking about maybe just doing a long line type setup so I can just bring a 1-pound grappling anchor and then attach all of them to that. If you guys have any thoughts on that, you should feel free to share them with me, because I've never really hunted over silhouettes very much before, so kind of trying something new.
So I went ahead and cooked up this teal for lunch today, just got back from the hunt. You know, usually I have never been a huge fan of duck. Try and cover up the taste as much as possible, put some bacon around it. Last week I was up hunting with my grandparents and my uncle. We shot a duck and my uncle went ahead and cooked the bird up right there, fresh in the blind. And he cut it up into little strips before he cooked it. That is so good. I don't know what it is about cutting it up in strips before I cook it. When I used to cook ducks whole, you gotta have the inside, you gotta have them medium rare, or else they get tough and gamey. Cut it open and there'd just be blood. And I like rare steak. I have no problem with the blood there. But there's just something about the duck blood. It has a really strong taste, and I never really cared for it. But when you cut it up into little strips and just fry it, you can get it medium rare, but it still cooks out so much of that blood. And oh man, that's really good. You keep the tenderness of it, but you get rid of a lot of that strong, I don't know, blood taste. It almost tastes salty to me. But this is perfect.
Mm.